Fans of motorsport often throw around the term Spec Series when referring to certain championships. I myself do this as well, but what does this term actually mean, and do we understand it as much as we think we do? Although we call these championships Spec Series, another term we could opt for is one make. While one make does a better job of explaining what kind of machinery is used in these championships, the connotation behind it can be a bit misleading. While it isn't incorrect to say all the cars are the same, it's not the whole picture either. But rather than me explaining it in technical jargon, here are some examples so you can decide for yourself. Let's start with Formula 2. All teams use the same chassis, the same engine, and the same tyres. A perfect example of a Spec Series, correct? Next up, we have IndyCar. All teams use the same chassis and tyres, but there are two different engine suppliers. Is this still a Spec Series? Probably. Finally, we have Formula E. Again, all teams use the same chassis and tyres, but things like the motor, gearbox, suspension, and the software that runs these parts differs greatly between teams. So, is it a Spec Series? The answer at the end of the day is up to you, but like I alluded to at the beginning, cars in a so-called Spec Series can be all the same, but they are not always equal. We need to look at what's happening outside of the car. Obviously, a driver's talent will always be crucial, but it's the teams behind them that can make the biggest difference. A well-funded team with a wealth of experience can employ the best strategists and the best mechanics for setting up the car. This is the case even in race series that don't have mandatory pit stops or have very little aero elements that could be tweaked. Just take a look at the teams featured in the standings in each of these series. The same few names are almost always near the top. The dominant teams have the best personnel on board, and as such, talented drivers are more likely to want to drive for them. Of course, money can be a factor, and a well-funded driver can buy themselves a seat at a top team, but it doesn't always produce results. Likewise, even an underdog team can be boosted by signing a talented driver punching above their weight. Unless you're talking about the W Series or some F4 championships where there are no teams and instead there is a rotating list of staff that help out each driver, then a team's influence can be the deciding factor on which driver wins the championship. So at the end of the day, while Spec Series produce some of the closest racing in motorsports, the truth is that even with the same machinery, there are more things happening behind the scenes that makes the biggest difference. In summary, an experienced team can't turn a poor driver into a champion, and an inexperienced team can't turn a champion into a winner. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, then let me know, and until next time, goodbye.